Right, let's take you to the Western Cape, where the Premier Alan Winde has delivered his State of the Province address today. He's expected to reflect on the past year's success while mapping out the province's plans for the year ahead. Earlier this week, Winde criticised President Cyril Ramaphosa for not going far enough in his State of the Nation address and dealing especially with the country's energy crisis. Let's go to our senior reporter, Ayesha Ismail, who was in attendance at that State of the Province address. Ayesha, obviously this is a time when premiers make a lot of promises to residents. What has the Premier promised Western Cape residents today?
Well, as you say, last week we heard President Cyril Ramaphosa doing his State of the Nation address. Then we heard the Premier of the Western Cape, Alan Winde, having his opportunity to address the SONA debate the other day. And in that address, he criticised the President for not going too far and doing too little too late. In his State of the Province address today, the Premier talked about what he was going to do about growing the economy, creating jobs, and most importantly, what he is going to do about the energy crisis. Premier, the people of your province, of our province, they are waiting to hear about how exactly you are going to address the energy crisis in this province. Not in 3 years' time, but in the short term.
So obviously that is a big issue for us as a province. All of our data shows that that is the biggest issue that faces citizens right now, number one. Number two, it's not a provincial job. It's not a provincial competency. Energy is supposed to be given by national government. But in this province, we're now going to step into that space. We have been, in a way, but not really taking it head on. So we've been working on the green economy, 1 megawatt, small-scale embedded generation, so about 135 megawatts. Already the city mitigates 2 levels of load shedding. A lot of projects in our other municipalities. But what I've also asked is our team, I'm going into a cabinet later, I've said I would like to spend money on this if you don't put budget towards it. So I'm announcing that I've called for $1 billion or around $1 billion. Obviously that'll be confirmed in the budget, because then we can really get in, and I've got to make sure that we are bringing new power into the system. We're mitigating that emergency risk right now. How do I help poor households and SMMEs? So this is about action. So we've got to put money aside and go out and do those things. I've put the Energy Council together. I've employed Alvie Lester. I haven't appointed another minister. I've employed an energy specialist, because that's what we need. We need people who understand what they're doing and what needs to be done to make sure that we can be energy resilient in this province.
Premier, what are you going to be doing about crime in this province?
So, of course, my focus has always been on, and I campaigned on safety. We put the safety plan in place. The overall numbers, just with 1,200 officers, it's amazing to see the difference now in the change in murder numbers in South Africa. In other provinces, the murder rates just keep going in massive 18% and 20% and 30% rises. We're seeing our percentages slowing down, and in actual fact in the murder hotspots where we've got the partnership with the city and the LEAP officers, we really are seeing negative murder growth, which for me is really exciting, and that's creating a debate at a national level. I know that the Gauteng Premier is also talking about what's the different model, because we cannot sustain the constant increase in crime and violence in our country. So we are trying something different. It is showing on the data that it's working, and I think it's starting to influence the debate. I believe that policing management should be devolved to provincial level, and I'll keep fighting for it.
Now, you talked extensively about growing the economy. How are you going to do that? Because you're also talking about growing the Western Cape's GDP in 3 years' time to 1 trillion rand.
Yeah, so obviously, we've just come out of a pandemic. You have to rethink what are the levers, what are the blockages, how do we change that? And our Department of Economic Opportunities, the MEC, and in actual fact our cabinet have been seized now with what is the new plan. You can't just keep using the old plan. So now this is the new plan. It's going out to consultation. We've said it must be ready for implementation in March. I'm already excited to see the recovery. Tourism has recovered really well. We were bursting at the seams across our towns and the city of Cape Town this festive season. We're seeing the airport numbers, the hotel numbers. That's really good to see. Agriculture has been doing well, even education during the pandemic has been doing well, so they continue to grow. Then of course, it's enabling the tech sector and other sectors. How do we make sure that we don't want to choose the winner, but we want to enable investment. We want to enable entrepreneurs so that they can go and do what they need to do, and that's what this new vision is going to be all about, and this new enabling environment. How do we cut red tape, and the rest of the time, how do we get out of the way?
Premier, we are pressed for time, but I have to ask you about what you're doing about gender-based violence in this province.
So, of course, because safety is a big thing for me, and I keep on saying to our teams, we can't do the same thing over and over again with having worse and worse outcomes. So we've launched a campaign now which is just narrowly focusing on young men between the ages of 24 and 34 primarily. We also know from our data and our evidence that there's a cycle of abuse. So if a man was abused when he was a boy, the chances are he will become an abuser. And so this is a program to try and break that cycle. It's hard-hitting media stuff, but it's also one-on-one engagements, and it's creating an environment that people can phone in and say, please, can I have some help?
Thank you so much for your time, and that was the Premier of the Western Cape, Alan Winde, after delivering his State of the Province address.
All right, senior reporter Ayesha Ismail live for us in Cape Town. Thank you. Let's leave it there for now.